Welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore. How's everybody doing today? I'm feeling pretty good. So, just to give you a heads up actually a little bit, my previous playthrough of Parasite Eve 2 had a little bit of a problem in terms of streaming on Twitch, and then in terms of YouTube, I also had a problem in terms of, I also had a problem in terms of words. In terms of it streaming onto Twitch. And then in terms of the YouTube stream, unfortunately, the gameplay for my YouTube live stream, in turn, had a problem when it came to the game footage freezing. So as a result of that, I'm gonna have to redo part 12. But the good news is I do have the important parts saved, so it'll be a pretty fast blaze through of the parts that I need to get through, because I know how to beat this thing too. So there's that. So that's good. But yeah. So because of that, I mean, I'm not sure what part of it's my Wi-Fi or the game itself, but in case it happens again, please message in the chat just to make sure if anything goes wrong. Just let me know and I'll find some way to fix it. Like, for example, right now I'm looking at my stream from YouTube's end. It did go black for like a few seconds, but now it's working again. But anyway, we are going into Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore. So, it's a little bit more friendly, so I hope you enjoy it. So, in the last episode, if I remember correctly, we went through basically the Kobayashi Maru of worst case scenarios of royalty, essentially. Like, what if Lucette wasn't there for certain things? And then, now, we're basically founding a magical council between witches, fairies, and humans. So where the liaison between magical beings and humans is not any more fragile than it has been already. So I'm not sure if Tobias the Tantalus is going to be stopping by tonight. If he is, I am looking forward to it. Whether on a chat capacity or whether a gaming capacity. Also, the game music's a little bit loud. Let me just turn it down just a little touch. There we go. Alright. Alright. So, whether in a chatting capacity or actually a dialogue capacity, we'll see. But yeah, this is a fun one. And oh yeah, there was the cupcake thing. But let me see the log, because I know we're on a new chapter. So they're founding a new council, and then we're going up to basically help Lance with the speech. And then, oh yeah, the first decision of this chapter. Do we or don't we get the cupcake? Because Claude loves his sweets. And you know, I normally would skip, but I feel like for a little bit of character development, let's stop for that cupcake for a little bit of a flashback, shall we? You are a saint, Lucette. He takes my hand and begins to hum as we make our way to the dessert stand. Because of course he would. Claude ends up selecting a delicately shaped rose cupcake. He asks me if I want one, but I decline the offer. As always, he spends more time than necessary on this. I began to wonder if we should have just ignored the stand altogether when I paused, distracted by Claude murmuring. Maybe he would like this one. Or this one. What are you doing? Looking for a cupcake for Lance, of course. It'll be a peace offering and a consolation prize when he loses. Oh yeah, there's also a chess match that we have to do too. My brother has an insatiable sweet tooth, you see. Just like Claude, it seems. Claude eventually selects a small cupcake topped with the gold-red butterfly. He says it is on account of the cupcake's cherry flavor. Apparently that is Lance's favorite. We've both cupcakes carefully packed away before we make our way back to the palace. Much to my relief, Claude refuses to eat his own cupcake, if only because he does not have the knife and fork to do so. Just like a Brugantian. Haha. Eventually, the two of us reach our destination. Claude agreed to meet Lance in the dining hall along with Emmeline and Rod, who are both sitting there now with him. The three are immersed in conversation when we enter. The steps are a lot faster in the Brugantian style of the dance. Emmeline sighs. Too fast! It's almost impossible not to trip over to my own 2 feet. How am I supposed to learn this in time for the wedding? Lance laughs. If it makes you feel any better, I'd be more than happy to be your dance partner during the wedding, Princess Emmeline. I wouldn't mind if you stepped on my feet. I used to step on people's feet all the time practicing the same dance, after all. But I'd feel terrible. It really isn't too hard so long as you keep your eyes on your partner. How am I meant to do that when I have no idea where my feet are? This wouldn't happen to be the dance that you're helping Emmeline with, Lance. The three look up as we enter the room. Lance narrows his eyes abruptly at Claude. The two brothers eye the elaborate chessboard already set up on the table. It is. Lance is helping me learn it for the wedding. She glances at Lance, but his attention is already focused on Claude. You're late. Sorry, Lucette and I were at the March and discussing some important proposal with 2 witches and a fairy. He smiles smugly at his brother as he takes the seat right in front of him. Both Emmeline and Rod rise to sit further down the table, where I've already taken the liberty of seating myself. It's like the temperature suddenly decreased in here. They're very competitive, aren't they? Perhaps to a fault. They're like 2 bickering children. Both men are staring at each other with grim expressions on their faces. Hold on, my chat just stopped working. There we go. Also, awkward! They look like 2 war generals on the opposite side of a battle. This is all very anticlimactic, isn't it? I would have preferred sword fighting. Of course you would have. Because you prefer the easy win. You can't stand to lose. Me? Lose? I rarely lose. Oh, right. Because they're perfect. Oh, God, Lance! Dang! It's getting brutal here. Yeah, tempo dropped in here. I definitely need to turn off the AC. The 2 men begin their game with severe frowns. I glance briefly at Emmeline and Rod, who watch quietly. Rod looks unimpressed, while Emmeline looks more worried than anything else. She leans toward me and whispers, It's strange to see Lance like this. I look more closely as Lance seems eclipsed by some dark aura as he moves his pieces. He never peels his solemn gaze away from Claude, who looks immeasurably uncomfortable. Aren't they being too serious about this? Apparently challenging someone to a game of chess is a very serious thing in Brugantia. Emmeline chuckles softly. I don't know. This seems very similar to when you and Rod are trying to show each other up in dancing. Dancing requires more focus. He looks at me pointedly. Though, I can at least say I have better focus than Lucette because I am the superior dancer. I narrow my eyes at him. Just you wait, Rod. I will make you swallow those words. We'll have Sebi there to judge next time. Sebi is hardly a good judge. He'll always call you the better dancer just to get on my nerves. Perhaps you should have brought Sebi here to lighten the mood. Claude looks up, irritation flashing through his eyes. Can you 3 keep it down over there? I can hardly focus on my strategy without this background noise. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Excuse me? Lance smirks as he moves the piece up the square and knocks one of Claude's pieces off the board. You fiend! Sir William was just a young man. Lance sighs and sits back in his chair. Claude leans over the board with a crumble. You are a brutal commander, Llama. In a real war, your men will be dead. They're chess pieces. You remember what Father used to say? Treat the chessboard like a battlefield. Know that the men who serve you are just as loyal to their true king. Have you forgotten? I haven't forgotten anything. Lance leans forward to move his piece after Claude. As the match goes on, it becomes more and more apparent that Lance is slowly taking over the board. Claude watches in sudden silence. What's wrong? Has my imminent victory left you at a loss for words? Claude just grunts in response as he moves another one of his pieces. Where there's a battlefield, you'll be sacrificing far too many soldiers. This is a chessboard. Your technique is surprisingly savage. Savage, booty, ratchet. Sorry, I had to. Anyway, Lance glares at him. Perhaps we should have fought with swords. At least then I would have been able to knock some sense into your thick skull. Emmeline and Rod stare at Lance in shock. Dang, Lance, you can get brutal! Lance finishes the game when he takes Claude's king. He's still grimacing, though, his face flushed with anger. Checkmate. And there we have it. The expected outcome. I don't know about that. Claude gestures at the stolen king. You may have taken the crown, but that doesn't mean you know how to wear it. How you win is just as important as the victory. What's that supposed to mean? If this were a real battle, that crown would be meaningless, brought with too much sacrifice. Claude shakes his head. So you see, I may have lost, but at least I have more of a king's sensibilities. You always twist the outcomes to your favor, don't you? You're condescending when you win and hostile when you lose. Me? Hostile? I hardly get as riled up as you do. Don't act so innocent now. Lance stands from the table, his cheeks flushed. You're always like that! Always putting on a facade and pretending to be the good older brother when all you do is berate and criticize me. And even when I call you to help or assist me, you refuse. When I try to be considerate, you call me weak. And you always have to compare the two of us to boost your own ego. Just because I can't be as good as you. He pauses suddenly, his posture stiff, and then he abruptly steps away from the table. Whew! Thank you for the game. He begins to stride away, eyes flashing with anger. I notice his hands are balled into fists as he passes up and makes his way toward the door. Maybe I should have helped Lance, looking back on it. Oof. What just happened? Llama just exposed his true feelings, I think. He has a habit of not showing them until he's angry. This has always how I've gotten to speak with him. This has always been how I've gotten him to speak with me. Should we go after him? That doesn't seem like it would be the best idea. It's obvious he wants space. Most of the men I know keep to themselves when they're irritated. Claude included. But from my experiences with Claude, I also know to talk about your problems is a better solution. I rest in my chair. Be that as it may, I'm still going to go after him. You think it's sister-in-law, Lucette! Yes! Rod has a point, actually. Usually when Lance walks off like this, he needs time by himself to reflect. What happens when you follow him? He thinks I'm trying to antagonize him. Suffice it to say, it usually doesn't end well. The thing is, though, Claude, you're the older brother and also a dude. Let's be frank here. It's going to be antagonizing for him. Whereas Lucette, she's a total stranger to him. So, if she approaches, she'll have a better outcome, I think. That's what I'd say! Dang! I agree! Maybe he'll be more receptive to me, then. Because I'm not you. Perhaps. I'm going to go search for him. You come join us when you're ready to speak with him. Fine. I'll catch up with you after I clean up the board, Lucette. Would you like us to take along, Lucette? Maybe not. It would like a group would definitely scare him off. She definitely doesn't need our help, Em. But Prince Lance, he's fine. Rod speaks curtly enough that Emmeline stops speaking, but she still looks at me worriedly. I hardly think he would appreciate such a large audience to his woes. Am I reading this game's mind right now? Jeez. I'll call on you if I need any assistance. Alright then. Rod and I will be here if you need us. I nod, then turn toward the doors to make my way outside. After questioning some of the nearby servants, I'm able to pinpoint Lance's location at the palace gates. I make my way there and find him standing close to the gate with his gaze upturned. He's staring up in the sky vacantly. He looks up when I approach, his eyes glittering with guilt. He quickly turns away. Hello, Lance. He responds with a small, sheepish smile. Y'all just work too hard to shield your emotions! Y'all need therapy! Or some Brugantian equivalent of that, because clearly you don't have it. Y'all need therapy! Also, where are my blue light wrap blankets? Gosh, this got really awkward. Oof. Awkward AF. There we go. How do I look anyway? Yeah, very shiny. Oh. Small, sheepish smile. Jeez, what else can I expect from the Brugantians? I apologize for my behavior. It was not very dignified, was it? I believe Claude only antagonized Lance to just tell him what he truly felt, but I also question whether or not he knows how to handle these matters. You know, I actually went through something similar with with my friends this weekend, where, I mean, I hope you guys don't mind if I talk about this. If you do, I'll delete this on the YouTube version in post. But I often feel like I annoy them a lot. If not for being passionate about mere fictional characters. I know for some people it's not mere. Or feeling super passionate about something. I feel like I wear people out with my passion. Or I wear people out with my feelings on something, because it should be much more toned down than it is. And so, I feel like because of that, I have to apologize. Put a wall up. In some way. And I feel kind of guilty. And I often tell myself, just keep your mouth shut and let it slide. Yet I don't do that. And at other times when I'm being talked at, or I'm talked with, the times when I should be speaking up, I let it slide because I don't want to make things worse. Because for the longest time, I kind of been looking at like any sort of self-defense or any justification as quote-unquote talking back. And I know especially for like first-gen Americans or those who have parents of immigrant families or those who've been here for a long time. I think y'all will know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, I still do it anyway. Like, I still apologize, and I apologized recently, and it wasn't accepted because they understood where I was coming from, ultimately. So I guess this is a very roundabout justification in saying scolding would be the absolute worst thing because he knows what he did was wrong. But I think in this case, he can't... We have to dismiss the apology because I know that the apology was more out of courtesy and self-defense rather than he needs to sit down and actually be honest with his feelings instead of doing that macho, both of them doing the macho display they did just earlier. So, I'm good. Sorry, macho is the worst word. Like, this tough exterior they just did just now. So, especially that we're going to get married. We need to start dismantling this now before things get worse, and in turn it screws things up for both Angiel and Brugantia. So, as much as it was his right to give the apology, it's also our right to dismiss it. And that's just as valid of an action. So, to my friends out there who happen to watch this episode in post, I will say thank you. It's a lot to think about. And I get why you did it. So, I guess this is a time for me to put that advice into practice in this story and see what happens. You do not need to apologize, Lance. I think more than anything, everyone is just worried about you. Oh? Well, it doesn't seem very like you to suddenly lash out at people. Oh? This has always been how Claude and I solve our problems. Not very sensible, is it? No! But I do not think people would hold it against you. I just think that them seeing you so uncharacteristically angry would make them worried. Lance sighs. It's never my intention to worry about other people. That's why I prefer to say nothing at all. This is hitting me way too personally. Good God. And yet the Brugantian blood running through my veins compels me to challenge my brother when I'm annoyed with him. Do not use your ancestry as an excuse, Lance. He knows exactly how to push my buttons. I still believe that if you have a problem with your brother, you have to tell him outright. It only causes everyone else to worry if you hide things. Claude definitely worries me when he keeps secrets. Lance looks about ready to say something, but then I notice him looking past my shoulder. Quickly diverts his eyes. Oh shoot, Claude, no! Oh! We're just getting to him! What's this? I could have sworn a conversation was happening here, but now all I hear are crickets. What did you come here for? To scold me? Since Lucette has already spoken with you, I came here not to talk, but to apologize. You? Apologize to me? You make me sound like a heartless cretin, Lance. And after all, the trouble I went through to bring you an apology gift. He holds up the small bag that he had been holding at his side to Lance. I recognize it immediately. I'm not surprised when Lance takes out the small cupcake out of it. This is a cupcake. It has cherry filling, you know. Lance stares at the cupcake owlishly. For a few moments, I think he might return to the bag, but then he holds it up and takes a hefty bite out of it, smiling. Cherries are the god's gift to humanity. Amen, Lance. Cherry and vanilla is an amazing combination in particular. If you not try it, do it. It's worth your time. Claude's lips twitch into a mischievous smile. He glances at me and winks. You see, darling? I told you my brother was weak to cherry. I am not. Lance stuffs the half-eaten cupcake into the bag, cheeks flushed. He clears his throat. Wait, why did you buy me a cupcake at all? It's a peace offering. Lance considers the cupcake a few moments, looking thoughtful. Well then? Maybe you're not heartless, but you certainly can act like it sometimes with how condescending and demeaning you are. Yes, and for that, I apologize. Such is the manifestation of my jealousy. Jealousy? You're jealous of me? For a few moments, Lance looks surprised, then he sighs. Why would you be jealous of me? Sometimes, Llama, I can be extremely obtuse. Do I really need to explain it to you? Yes. You call me perfect, but have you ever stopped to look at the people around you? They adore you. I don't understand. Oh God! You're living a fairy tale, Claude. No, I'm still living in your shadow. Without you and Brugantia, I'm set for nothing but failure. Claude frowns at his brother. Maybe I should check my apology. This is pitiful. Lance's eyes flash with anger. You're always like this! I'm honest with you and you chastise me for it. Lucette, say something! Because the Lance I know is competitive and fierce, and doesn't back away from a challenge. He's polite to others around him, but not so feeble when he admits defeat to his own brother. When Lance though he does speak, his voice is soft. I could never do what you've done, Karma. What? Move to Angiel? Picking up a mantle that hasn't been handed to me? Lance smiles a little sadly. After all, it's only taken your moving out of Brugantia to unravel my confidence. How do I improve if I don't have you there to challenge me? How do I know how to act if I don't have you there to be my role model? You didn't realize y'all are neighbors, right? So in the end, this whole situation is a result of Lance comparing himself to Claude, and Claude comparing himself to Lance. Oi! What a foolish brother I have. What? Y'all need therapy! Before that, it was y'all need Jesus, now it's y'all need therapy. Oh! You have the opportunity to stand toe-to-toe with me now. Before I had the Brugantian title, you always spoke about how incompetent a king I would be. You always said that you could do better. Now you have the chance to prove that to my fiancé and me. Lance glances between the two of us silently. His expression of shock is so childish, I cannot help but smile. The new alliance between Angiel and Brugantia brings our two countries closer than they ever have been before. We'll both be counting on you to help us mend this gap once you take the throne. When you do, I don't expect you to act like me. I expect you to act like yourself. I recall the way Lance acted during his speech practices. He told me that he was terrible in front of crowds, but Claudia said before the two of them took speaking lessons together. Now, I could see why he was so frustrated at Lance for the way he was practicing. It was because he was trying to be someone he was not, and Lance was caving beneath that pressure. Lance? Lance turns to look at me. Princess Lucette? I remember a time when Emmeline was stressed because she was trying to act like the other nobles. I remember a time when my whole world was Mother, and I wanted so much to be just like her. So much that I did not see the world around me. So much so that I did not even learn to form my own opinions till I'd stepped out of her shadow. There are certain responsibilities every king has to his people, but your words and actions should be yours, and yours alone. Claude smiles at me. You always know how to put things so aptly, darling. He turns back to his brother. But yes, all I want you to realize is that we are on equal footing. I know how heavy the responsibilities a king can be, but those responsibilities ought to be faced the way you want to face them. That is what living in Angiel has taught me. Even if those around me have differing opinions, I could never sacrifice my own values and beliefs. He glances at me. Though our lovely princess here has strong opinions, we work things out together. That's what it means to be both separate and equal to someone. Lance looks at us both thoughtfully for a few moments. The silence seems to put Claude on edge because he looks like he's on the verge of scolding his brother again. Suddenly, Lance laughs. I'm happy you fell in love with my brother, Lucette. I feel like the only reason he's mature is because of you. Claude may sometimes be flamboyant and childish, but I feel like without him I wouldn't have learned to be as mature either. And without him I would never have learned this kind of happiness, this kind of love. I guess now that he's gone, I get to prove myself. He looks at Claude, the competitive glint back in his eyes. Here we go. This time, I will not falter. Ah, those words are music to my ears, Llama. Could you maybe not call me that? Llama isn't very sophisticated. It's an no! No, it isn't. That's why I enjoy using it so much. Don't worry, Lance. Claude still refers to himself as the Chameleon Prince, and that is definitely not sophisticated at Oh. Boom! Shade! Claude blushes when his brother laughs. Just like that, the tension between them evaporates. Leave it to the sister-in-law to basically destabilize everything. I love it. The days pass in a blur. Though things should be less busy considering the circumstances, my schedule only gets tighter with the wedding so close. Claude and I have been far too many rehearsals, and my family continues to ask for my opinions about the feast that will occur afterward. The days are more exhausting than they have been in weeks. It's the night before the wedding ceremony, and I finally have some time to myself. Or, at least so I think. Yet when I step in through the door, the room is not vacant. Claude sits at the piano, playing some soft melancholy tune. At first, he does not seem to notice me, and I contemplate whether or not to surprise him. Yet before I could think to do anything, he suddenly stops playing to look at me. Ah, Lucette, my beautiful wife. That lacks impact, doesn't it? I think I prefer my beautiful queen. What do you think? Queen. The weight of that word is only made lighter when I consider the fact that Claude would be sitting right beside me. But even then, the thought is strange. It's hard to imagine myself ever sitting on my father's throne. Oh, whoop. I got disconnected. Hold on. Sorry for the shrinkage. Anyway. I reach for the two plush toys in my bed. The Beauty and the Beast. Claude leans against the piano with a smile. For a few moments, a soft quiet descends. May I ask you a question, darling? I look up at him, curious. I nod my head. 2 years ago, when you came to me for advice on how to be good, do you remember what I first said to you? That was 2 years ago in the tavern. And when I was still trying to understand what goodness meant. The first piece of advice that Claude gave me pertained to... Oh God! It's been so long! It's been so long! Oh God. Oh God! I think he was talking about Beauty because he was still Miss Karma at the time. Because I know, like... I think it was Beauty. I hope it's Beauty. If I'm wrong, then I'm just gonna go back. But I think it was Beauty. Wasn't it something about being beautiful both the inside and out? I got it right! I am so sorry for those who are using headphones, but, like, it's been so long since I played the first game, so, like, I didn't think I remembered, but thank you, Miss Karma. Anyway, you remember. It is impossible not to. You put painstaking effort into your appearance, always. Miss Karma also needs to make a comeback. If not today, then certainly at the wedding, like... I bet Miss Karma's dress would be way more extravagant. I did. You still do. Claude grins. Of course, but back then it was a beauty that was meant to hide the truth rather than express it. Miss Karma is my favorite disguise, you know. You make it sound like you have more than one. Who's to say I didn't? I did like sneaking out of the palace and avoiding my responsibilities. He pauses for a few moments, contemplating. Then softly, he sighs. There was a time when I valued beauty above all things, even when a witch decided to make my so-called beauty a curse. He points at the beast plush that I have in my hands. I never liked the Beauty and the Beast fairy tale growing up. I always thought that the witch was being too cruel to the prince, dooming him to an empty life if he didn't learn a hard lesson. When a witch set a similar curse upon me, I despised her. I wanted to prove that I could break her spell without changing. I never realized how much I needed to change until his eyes fall on me. Until you came along. Had I not met you, Lucette, I might have still been the same cursed man. Maybe I would have been a little wiser, but I would still be the spoiled Crown Prince of Brugantia. And now? He comes to sit beside me with a smile. The Crown Prince of Brugantia and future husband to the loveliest lady in this realm. Most beautiful. On the inside and out. Oh. He takes the beast plush from my hands and holds it up. So you see, just like the prince in the fairy tale, I only found my true calling when I met you, princess. And I wanted to thank you for that. I lean my head on his shoulder with a smile. You don't need to thank me, Claude. Is that it? No heartwarming response, love? I laugh as I nuzzle my head into the crook of his neck. I am saving that for my wedding vow tomorrow. You'll have to wait patiently until then. I suppose I don't have any choice in the matter, do I? Nope! Kiss the top of my head. A gentle silence falls over us after that, but it's comfortable and calming. I am content to wrap my arms around Claude's waist and settle my head on his shoulder. Thank you, Claude. Woo! Wedding number 2. Here we go. May it be granted that what is done before the gods cannot be undone by man. Before I proclaim you joined by marriage, thou must seal this pact with a kiss. Because marriage is what brings us together. I've heard these words so many times before, but here, in front of so many people, they seem to ring even louder. Still, I will not falter. The Crown Princess is always confident. I take a step forward to clasp Claude's hands into mine, but before I can even place one foot in front of the other, here's somebody step so close I nose his brush! Oh! It's all I can do to keep him gasping when he puts one hand on my back and tips me backward. Of course Claude would be extravagant during his own wedding. Oh. Claude slides at me mischievously. He's so close I can feel his breath on my cheeks. A ripple of sound runs through the crowd. I cannot tell whether it's laughter or chattering. This wasn't in the rehearsal! I whisper the words into his ear, my cheeks flushed. The rehearsal was very boring. I think I have the leisure of breaking some rules. I do not have it in me to protest. Claude always has a way of assuaging my worries. He's himself no matter the circumstance. His confidence might sometimes be overbearing, but it is also inspiring. I'm only so bold because I have such a confident queen. You may now kiss the bride. Neither of us hears the minister. In fact, Claude plans to kiss on my lips before he even finishes the sentence. The applause echoing around us is nothing but background sound. All I can feel in those single heart-stopping moments are Claude's lips on mine and his gentle warmth all around me. I love you, my beautiful queen. Titles aside, his words make my heart swell with pride. I kiss him again on the cheek before placing my forehead to his. I love you too, Claude. Chapter 6. Promise! I feel like going a little longer. Yeah, let's go a little longer. We haven't even hit an hour yet. Let's go a little longer. And that is why, come what may, my promise to you will always hold firm. I will always be dedicated to you, the people of Brugantia, above all else. The atmosphere in the room is relaxed as Lance finishes up his speech. The soft silence that happened at the backdrop of his speech breaks apart when you all applaud. It was perfect, Lance! Lance bends down into an elegant bow and smiles at her. Well? Excuse me. I had a good teacher. Emmeline puts her hand on her chest and smiles sheepishly. But I only just listened. Lance's eyes seem to sparkle when he looks at her. Wedding number 3? Having someone who knows how to listen is incredibly valuable. Emmeline's only response is a blushing smile. In the end, I found out that Emmeline offered to listen to Lance's speech in exchange for his helping her learn the Brugantian dance. Apparently the trade worked. Emmeline had danced together at the wedding, and it seemed that Lance approved the speech by performing it for Emmeline. Lance put his hand on his hip as he glanced at Claude. Yay or nay? You pass. You didn't look as stiff as a board and your smile was subdued. At least I know how to memorize my speeches. Claude waves a hand dismissively at him. Spontaneity is not a bad thing. It just means I know how to improvise. He winks at me. Besides, Lucette is excellent at memorizing things. We're unstoppable when we get the speeches together. Or maybe you could learn to actually sit down and memorize what you need to say? Darling, do you really have so little faith in me? My only response is a too sweet smile. When I turn back to Lance, that smile has become gentler. It was a great speech, Lance. I'm sure you'll make your father proud. Thank you, Princess Lucette. Oh. I forgot! That's sister-in-law now. He smiles a little awkward. I mean, thank you, Lucette. Lance is still having difficulty for not using towels for my siblings and I. He is technically my brother-in-law now. Not technically, he is your brother-in-law, Lucette. Sorry to cut in, but it's almost noon, isn't it? Oh, right. Lance gives another bow and smiles. I'm going to head back to my room and make sure the servants have taken care of my luggage. I'll meet you in the gates in 10 minutes. He excuses himself before the rest of us can follow after him. Rod's eye is disappearing back with clear suspicion. What is it, Rod? He glances at Emmeline and shrugs. It's nothing. You know something, Rod! You know something! He sighs as we all leave the dining hall. The palace is bustling at this time of day. Servants walk through the halls carrying utensils in preparation for lunch. Rod and Emmeline have already gone on ahead of us. Emmeline seems eager to meet Lance at the gates first, and Rod mentioned he had some quick errands for him before meeting us. I noticed a few servants heading to the gates with luggage and figured they must be the men Lance was referring to. It'd be strange not to have Lance here anymore. Lost in thought, are we? Claude's voice startles me from my thoughts. I was just thinking that this is the closest I've seen you and Lance since he's visited. Because we're not at each other's throats? I poke his shoulder. Exactly that! It's been nice seeing you two get along. Rivals we may be, but Lance and I are brothers. We always make up. We're close that way. I was beginning to have my doubts, but I am glad. I smile at him as we continue toward the gates. Oh, this is a new track. I don't recognize it at all. Let me put it up a little. Oh, I know, never mind, I know this track. I don't know. Emily and Lance are already there when we arrive. The two of them face each other in the carriage doors. You're welcome to visit whenever you like, Emmeline. I'm sure Father and Mother would love to have you. Oh, I'd love to visit. After all the stories you told me about Brugantia, I can't help but think it must be a magical place. Magical in a different way from Angiel. I think you'd enjoy it. He pauses, looking thoughtful for a few moments. I suppose I'd have to introduce you to my sister-in-law's stepsister? Emmeline laughs. That sounds like a mouthful. Sister would do just fine. Lance's expression seems to crumple into something more sullen. You know, it really is a shame that you are... What's a shame? Rod had been hovering by the gates watching the two of them steps up to the carriage with his eyebrows raised. Oh, it's nothing. Lance smiles softly and says nothing else. Lance pauses to turn to Claude and me as we approach the carriage. Ah, there you are, Karma, Lucette. He takes a step forward and claps Claude's hand into his. He shakes it firmly with a bright smile. I expect you to listen for news of my speech. I can assure you that people will be praising it all over the realm. Claude looks back at him amused. I'll hold you to that standard then, and if anything else happens, I'll be severely disappointed. Don't worry, Karma. I'll make sure my speeches make yours pale by comparison. And how come my speech is pale by comparison when I'm naturally charismatic? Oh, I think Lucette would be more suited to giving speeches than you. Well, I can't argue with you there. If you challenge me to a speech competition, I would no doubt win. Lucette has an eloquence and wit that little of us possess. And even more impressive, she has the strongest, most competitive heart I've seen. And... Lance pulls his hand away and holds up as if to bar Claude from speaking. Yes, I've heard it all before. You've already told me many things about her. Days worth, in fact. I could never run out of things to say about my lovely queen. You mean wife? Wife is so underwhelming. If I were to call you anything along those lines, I'd rather say my heart, or maybe my other half, or... I put my fingers to his lips to silence him. If you talk much longer, Lance will never leave. I noticed that the carriage has already been prepared. Lance is to ride through the main plaza before heading out the city gates and back to Brugantia. Ever the flatterer. Same goes to you. Lance takes a step back toward the carriage doors, but then pauses again to look back at us. I'm looking forward to it. To work with you two, I mean. We may not be seated on the thrones now, but once we are, well, I look forward to the competitions. Let us all promise to inspire each other through friendly competition going forward. It's a promise. Claude says the words at the same time I do, though I cannot help but turn away with a scowl when he grins at me. Wait, why is everything related to the crown suddenly a competition? That's my question too, Lucette. My god. Claude and Lance eye each other with mirrored confidence. I've been expecting good things from you, Llama. You too, Karma. And... turns to me with a gentle smile. When things settle down and you have the time, please do come visit Brugantia, Lucette. I know you can never be there for long, but I'm certain everyone will appreciate your presence there very much. All they have right now are rumors of a beautiful and refined Crown Princess of Brugantia. I will try my best to visit when I can, then. Lance turns to Emmeline and Rod. I'm trying to time this correctly so that way the music ends when this story ends, because it feels like the end. And Rod, Emmeline, you're always welcome to visit whenever you'd like, so please do. He takes a step into the carriage, then turns and winks. And do right! I'll be terribly offended if you don't. Of course, his farewells are as dramatic as his brother's. After we all say our goodbyes, Lance enters the carriage and disappears from sight. The large, elaborate carriage trundles away slowly. Emmeline and Rod leave first. The two of them engage in some quiet conversation that I cannot hear. Emmeline looks equal parts thoughtful and sad, while Rod appears almost quizzical. Claude and I stand there for a few moments longer, watching the carriage disappear into the crowded plaza. Even here, people love Prince Lance of Brugantia. Once he is out of sight, Claude turns to me and takes my hand. He plants a kiss in the back of it. Shall we go, my lovely queen? I clasp my hand in his and lean on his shoulder. Yeah, let's go, Claude. I don't know whether or not this is the end, but we'll see. The two of us walk back toward the palace together. Gonna let the song finish here, because that was beautiful. Perfect timing! Oh my god, I did it right! And on that note, the end. with the good ending for Karma. It's obviously not the best ending, but I came pretty close. But let's see. Let's go under gallery right now. Fritz. We did Fritz. We missed one. But Claude, we got most of it. It's just the last one. So we just got Chevalier and Rod left. So let's see. So yeah. We pretty much got all the good ends. So, yeah. So we have officially ended Karma's route. So, I have plans. In a future playthrough, we're going to go through all the best endings. Because there's no bad endings in this game, because it's basically a happily ever after the happily ever after. So, yeah. So the next playthrough, we're going to go through Chevalier Dumont's story, aka Rumple. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one goes. And finally, we're going to end a few parts of Rod's ending. Because Rod's story is the one that has the most potential. Because it ended on, like, the most ambiguous note ever. Like, I don't think anybody died in that ending. So that's going to be pretty interesting as to where that one's going to go. So, yeah. So, this upcoming week is going to be my last fully functional week. Because on the 21st, I am getting wisdom tooth surgery. I am still going to be playing, but just to give you a heads up, I may not be as commentary heavy for about a week. Because I'll be recovering. But, yeah. So, next week, I'm going to be doing... Whoops. Let me fix that. Because I had a feeling that, like, it was going to... Our Karma's route was going to be... I have a feeling, like... This part was going to be the end. So, yeah. So, next is my last fully functional week before everything goes up. So, Monday, we're going to have Barony. Level 21 or bust. We got pretty far with our last playthrough, and we've got 4 people on our team, so we're going to go pretty far, I think. Then we've got Part 13 of Parasite Eve on Wednesday, and then Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore Part 16, where we will start with Chevalier's route. I am offering card readings at this time with 2 codes, and then I am from... Well, my home state, supportde.com. There's $20 to $21 a shirt. Everything is locally made, so $10 goes towards the business, and the rest goes towards the charity that the business supports. And finally, I am hoping that things are safe enough by the end of this year that I will go to the Star Trek Las Vegas convention. Because I've been wanting to go there, and everybody's saying, it's worth the wait, just wait this pandemic out, and then go. Because it is worth your time. So, yeah. I'm taking their advice. So yeah, here's all my social medias in case you want to check out my stuff. TikTok, I update pretty frequently, as well as Twitch and YouTube, so please check those out. I also have a Discord server. I recently actually added a new logo to it, so I hope you enjoy it for those who are subscribed to that. And for those who are new, I hope you like it anyway. So, and I just realized I forgot to change the social media tag, so it thinks it's Parasite Eve too. Whoops, sorry. But yeah, check out my Twitter at DJMK4Life for any updates in terms of like new streams and anything else on there. And then I have a blog and also a Fiverr shop in case you want to check out just other things that I do outside of work. And then, yeah, as mentioned last stream, unfortunately, the footage that I filmed for my first Theological Otaku video, it got lost. I can confirm this now. It's unfortunately unrecoverable, so I had to basically reshoot the entire thing. But it's okay. I wasn't really satisfied with what I did at first anyway. So, yeah. That's pretty much all the updates that I've got for you. And, oh yeah, a couple more things. So, I have a surprise game coming up. Because I have a little bit of good news that I want to share with y'all that might affect the future of this channel for just a little bit of time, but I hope you still appreciate the fun stuff I'm going to do for you. And then another one, since it is Pride Month, I hope you enjoy a little bit of color that I put in the background. In honor of Pride Month, I'm thinking I'm also going to do a second visual novel, which is pretty big in the visual novel community. In honor of Pride Month, I'm going to be playing Highway Blossoms, which is basically about a lesbian couple who travel through Route 66 together. It's a classic among the visual novel community and the REMP community, so I hope you enjoy that. Don't know when I'm going to be starting that one, but keep an eye out for the moment I start that up. But anyway, this was great doing Karma's route. It felt very, very deep. It certainly hit places that I didn't think that we were going to go, but it felt very, very relevant, especially now. So, please take it easy on yourselves this weekend. Drink plenty of water, especially if you're in a hot climate. Remember that love is possible. Love is love, whether it's to yourself, another person, or even a group of people. And, of course, be your heart, be your guiding key. Ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, I will see you next time. Bye!